Congress didn't ask the CRAs to be nice, they mandated it. In 15 USC 1681 A4, Congress stated that reporting agencies must exercise their grave responsibilities with fairness, impartiality, and a respect for the consumer's right to privacy. If your credit report has five old addresses, three misspelled names, and an employer that you left back in 2015, they are failing that responsibility. Today, we are using that exact statute to scrub your personal profile clean. Check it out. Okay, as you guys know, I like to start with a blank slate. Why? Because you need to understand this is not what Justin is saying. This is what the law is saying. Any one of you can pull up your phone right now. You can pull up your device. You can go to Google and you can search these exact same laws that I'm going to pull up. So let's pull up our Google. And in our Google search, we're going to type in 15 USC 1681. And we want to find the Legal Information Institute. This is the Cornell Law website. We've referenced this website before, has a lot of great legal information on this website. This is why we go here. We will click on it. It takes us to 15 USC 1681. This is the congressional findings and statement of purpose. This talks about why Congress enacted this information into law. So the specific law that we're going to look at right now is 1681, 15 USC 1681 A4. So we're going to scroll down and we're going to find A, accuracy, fairness of credit reporting, and scroll down to 4, and it says this. I'm going to pull it up on the Google Sheets. 15 USC 1681 A4. Congressional findings and statement of purpose. Accuracy and fairness of credit reporting. The Congress makes the following findings. There is a need to ensure that consumer reporting agencies exercise their grave responsibilities with fairness, impartiality, and a respect for the consumer's right to privacy. That's very powerful. This is the reason that Congress enacted these laws, so that there is fairness, that there is impartiality, and a respect to the consumer's privacy. And privacy is what we're really concerned with right now as we're cleaning up our personal information off of our credit report. In addition, I was curious as to what grave responsibility meant. So I put that into AI, and this is what I pulled up. It says grave responsibility is a phrase used to describe a duty that is very serious, weighty, and morally important. When someone has a grave responsibility, it means high stakes, the outcome really matters. Moral or ethical weight, doing the wrong thing could have serious consequences. A sense of solemn duty, it's not casual or optional, it demands care and integrity. And pressure to act wisely because mistakes could affect others in meaningful ways. Now, look at those definitions of grave responsibility, and let's put that into context back into what the law says. Because, as I've explained before, when it comes to law, I have to read it and digest it, and then reread it and digest it again for it to actually hit home and make sense. So, let's read 15 USC 1681 A4 again, now with that knowledge of the idea of grave responsibility. It says, Congress makes the following findings. There is a need to ensure that consumer reporting agencies exercise their grave responsibilities with fairness, impartiality, and a respect for the consumer's right to privacy. So there is a need to ensure that CRAs exercise their moral or ethical weight, a sense of solemn duty, pressure to act wisely. That is what grave responsibilities means. It's very important in the meaning of law. So why does all this matter? Well, I'm glad you asked. This is the privacy argument. So, zombie debt collectors, as you can see in the bottom left, they will look for old, outdated addresses where old, outdated debts are tied to. If there is still an old, outdated a debt tied to an old, outdated address, these zombie debt collectors will come after you. They will call you, they will hound you, they will try to find you at work, they will try to call your family, they will do everything illegal under the sun to get you to pay or to begin paying on that outdated debt so it restarts the statute of limitations, right? The second reason that we want to clean up our personal information is the privacy argument, right? If we have multiple names and multiple addresses, it's easy for our file, our consumer file, to get mixed up with somebody else's consumer file. And you can see that those file stacks in the middle looks very confusing, right? It looks like it would be easy to get information mixed up in a file stack that looks like that. So that is why we want one name, one address, one phone number, one employer, and we don't want our social security number to be tied to that information at all. The third and probably the most important reason that we want our personal information cleaned up, we want our privacy, as said in 15 USC 1681 A4, is for the purpose of underwriters and the purpose of borrowing money and getting credit cards and loans and mortgages and car notes and student loans and just about any product that you can think of. Think about it from a underwriter's standpoint, right? If you're going to lend me money and I come to you and I say, I want to borrow $10,000. Here's my credit report. I have 5 different names, 12 different addresses, 5 different employers, 17 different phone numbers. Do I look like a stable person in your eyes? Most likely I do not. And it's the same way with these underwriters. So the best way to present yourself in the best light before these underwriters' eyes is, again, one name, one address, one phone number, one employer. Don't show your social security number. This is why it's very important to clean up our personal information on our consumer report. Okay, now we understand why we want to clean up our personal information on our consumer report. The next step is to take action. And this is what I like to call the red pen audit, right? So we are going to get a copy of our consumer report. I don't mean pull up your phone and look at it. I want you to go out and physically print out a copy of your consumer report. And I want you to pull out a red pen or a highlighter or something to mark up the page with. And you're going to go to your personal information section and we are going to dissect it, right? Again, we want one name, our first name and our last name. Literally, our first name and our last name. If we see another name that has our last name first and our first name second, we're going to circle it. If we see a name that has our first name and our middle initial and our last name, we're going to circle it. If we see a name that isn't ours at all, it's somebody totally separate, we're going to circle that as well. Why? Because we're going to get those other names deleted off of our consumer report. Second, we're going to go through our addresses and we are going to circle any old addresses that we have on our consumer report. We're going to circle any address that we don't recognize. We're going to circle any address that does not tie, most importantly, to our driver's license and or a bank statement and utility bill. Why? Because this is the proof that we have that we show these CRAs to update our personal information. Don't believe me? Here's my license. Here's my bank statement. Here's my utility bill. This is the information. This is fact. They cannot argue with fact, right? Then we're going to go through our phone numbers and all the different phone numbers that we have. We're going to delete them except for the one that we currently have, one phone number. Employers, we're going to go through the employer section. Uh, some people like to keep one employer on there. Some people like to delete all of their employers. If you were employed by the military and you didn't want anybody to know that you were in the military, you may want to have all of your employment information removed off of your consumer report. So think about that. And lastly is our social security number. We don't want that on there at all. We're going to circle that. We're going to circle all of these items. We're going to mark this up in our red pen audit so we know exactly what we want deleted off of our consumer report in regards to personal information. Okay, now that we have our consumer report marked up and we have all of our personal information identified, what we're going to want to do next is we're going to want to draft a letter. And this is our congressional mandate letter. And we're going to draft this letter and we're going to put the following language into the letter. Now, my letters don't say this exactly verbatim, but you can use this as a basic text to draft your own letter with the same idea. And it will be just as effective, right? So with this congressional mandate letter, we want to say in accordance with the congressional findings, 15 USC 1681A4, you have a grave responsibility. Remember how important that is. You, CRA, Experian TransUnion Equifax, you have a grave responsibility to respect my privacy. Listing unsecured, outdated personal information, it puts me at risk of identity theft. Think about how powerful that is. I'm instructing you, I'm telling you to delete the circled items, update my file, and match the attached identification only. And that is why it's important to have your ID match your personal information on your credit report. Right? So you're going to draft this letter up, and remember that we are going to send it certified mail with a green return receipt. Why? Because we want to know when the letter gets delivered. They have 30 days to open an investigation and respond. If they do not open an investigation and respond, and they deem that the information is inaccurate or they cannot verify it, they have to delete it. That's a different law, but that's what it says. That's why it's very important to use certified mail with green return receipt so that we know when they get it and when the clock starts. So remember to send that certified mail, green return receipt. Do not do this online. I know you can log into Credit Karma or Experian.com and you can dispute these items online. Do not do it. Because when you choose to dispute items online, you waive your right to dispute items or to tell them to delete items through paper mail. That's why it's very important to do not do this online. Make sure that it's always with paper mail and you're sending it green, certified mail with green return receipt. Okay, so you can see that personal information is very important. Always begin with updating your personal information whenever you are repairing, restoring, rebuilding your credit report. It is very important. In our consulting practice here, we always start with updating personal information. Why? Because if you don't first update your personal information, the disputes or the demands for deletions in the future for other items will not go as planned. They will not work smoothly. So get that personal information deleted, get it updated, get it accurate. If you want to figure out how to do this yourself, make sure to pick up our Elevate Credit Beginner's Guide ebook. And all you have to do is text credit repair to 458 658 9319. Text Credit Repair. 458-658-9319. Pick up that ebook. We have a lot of good information in there. It'll direct you to our YouTube channel where you can figure out how to do this yourself and get amazing results in your credit journey. So, to your success. Salud.